This episode of The Havery Show is being brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020. The following program is rated PG and may contain language and material that may be slightly offensive to some audiences. With us today on The Havery Show, we have a really special friend. And I've only known Tiff for a few years, but she's become very important, very special to me, and I'm so happy to have her and Wardzie on the show today. Wardzie?
W-A-R-Z-E-E.
Okay, well, let's just start with that right there, the spelling of the name. Is this an actual name that you got somewhere?
I did not name Warzie, so I adopted her when she was 6 years old, and that was already her name.
And so Suge Knight is a very well-known pup around these parts. If you go to Monserc, you've hung out with Suge. So is there any relation between Suge and Warzie?
No, they are not genetically related in any way.
They're the same breed, though?
They might have some mixtures of the same breed. They're both bully types of dogs, so maybe.
Okay. Now, you were telling me just a few seconds ago before we started, you've got 5 dogs?
5 dogs, yeah.
All right, tell me about your dogs.
Well, this is Warzie, and she's a French bulldog, and she is about 7 years old. I've had her for about a year. And then there's the famous Suge White.
Oh, yeah.
And she gets her name because she's like the angelic alter ego of the not so nice Suge Knight. She's like an angel. And she is some type of a bully dog, probably maybe like a boxer mixed with a pit bull, but she is all white, just like Warzie, and she's deaf. And I have had her for a little over 10 years, and she's my eldest girl, and she is maybe as old as 13 or 14. I don't know for sure because I got her as a stray.
A stray?
Yeah, she was picked up by Animal Services, and she was at the county kill shelter, and I got her on the day they were going to euthanize her.
No kidding. Is that this county?
Highlands County does euthanize stray pets for space. So we have obviously more homeless animals than is space at the county shelter. So yes.
Wow. Just in the nick of time.
Yeah. I saw her on the internet. I saw her picture and I was just like, I have to get that dog. I have to have that dog.
I don't know anything about dogs. I really don't. I like dogs. I know that. These are not inexpensive breeds, are they, for it to be a stray dog? Did someone lose Suge, or did what do you think happened?
Well, Suge was found in a place that's notorious for people dumping dogs that they don't want.
Really?
So Suge, maybe with having a hearing disability, maybe she wasn't trainable, maybe whoever had her didn't even know that she was hearing disabled, or she could have gotten lost and she would be hard to find because you can't call her back to you.
That's right. That's true.
So, but it's likely that she was put out of a car by someone who didn't want her.
So she couldn't have found a better home than with you guys. I mean, my goodness, she struck the pot of gold when she got your house.
Well, I sure hope so. Yeah. She is an angel, and I am so blessed to have her. I think that she was given to me as a gift, and it's my job to take care of her and care for her for as long as I can.
Fantastic. So that's two out of 5.
Yeah. So I also have a young pit bull, and her name is Shy. She's mostly my husband's dog. She's mostly Bob's dog.
Mm-hmm.
But she's really cute. She's about 5 now. Same thing. She came from Animal Services. So we got her during the COVID shutdown. Everybody was very afraid of the virus at that point, and Animal Services was not being able to intake or really adopt out dogs because nobody was allowed to be near each other.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of just made a little post and said, hey, if you want a dog, please come get a dog because we really need some help. So I don't know. We didn't know what our life was. Our restaurant was shut down, but I was like, I got $80 in my pocket, so I'm going to go get a dog. So that's what I did.
Wow.
Yeah. And then one of my dogs is called an Australian Kelpie, and his name is Tim.
Australian Kelpie.
Yeah.
I know about Australian Shepherds, but I don't know what a Kelpie is.
They're probably related in some way. I had never heard of one until he showed up with a local rescue, Sebring Angels, that I like to fundraise for and work with. And I just saw his picture and I was like, oh, this guy really needs a leg up. And he has an interesting story as to how I got him. He belonged to a young man that was struggling, an 18-year-old man that was just struggling to get his life together. And he moved to Florida to live with his grandparents to break some addiction habits that he had. And his grandma would not let the dog in the house.
Oh, boy.
So Tim was living tied to a tree. And this young man thankfully just had the sense to know that that wasn't a good life for Tim. And he really loved Tim. So he made a hard decision to give him up when Tim was kind of the only thing he really had.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to know him and I gave him a job. And I told him that, if he met some goals that he had as far as going to school, he wanted to be a mechanic and get his own place to live, that he and I could go back to Sebring Angels and we could ask them to let him adopt Tim back. So that was a deal that I made with him. But unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. He relapsed and didn't make good choices. And so Tim is my dog and I'll take care of him for the rest of his life.
Good deal.
Yeah. But he's a small herding dog, kind of like the size of like a mini Australian Shepherd.
Oh, okay, yes.
But I never heard of one, but he's like black and tan and kind of looks like a little German Shepherd, kind of.
Yep.
And then there is Egret. And
wait a minute, the dog is named after a bird.
So she is actually named after a character on the Game of Thrones series.
Oh, okay.
Now, I did not name Egret. She belonged to a good friend of mine who was going through some health trouble of his own and had to have a hip replacement. And she's a very active dog and he's not really able to care for her. So I asked him if she could come live with me. And so I'll take care of her. So
and the rest is history.
Yeah. And she's a blue tick hound. Hound dog is a different thing. She's just very aloof and just loves to jump fences and dig holes. And I chase her around the neighborhood a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Outdoorsy dog.
Very outdoorsy, very athletic. You're not going to catch her if she decides she wants to run. But she's a lot of fun. And I will take care of her because my friend needs help. So
that's who you are. You do take care of your friends.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that. You mentioned Sebring Angels.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So Sebring Angels is a local pet rescue right here. And they're my favorite local rescue probably because they don't have a kennel. They don't have any of the animals that they rescue go to foster homes. So they are a network of good people that take in animals that need help. And so none of those animals live in cages and they learn how to be pets while they're being cared for by the rescue. So it just makes them be extra adoptable.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Do they work with the county? Are they able to work with the county?
They do. They do. They do a lot of. They kind of try to do a lot of networking, like getting the word out more than anything is, just trying to let people know that, first of all, if your animal is lost, you need to go check at the county shelter and lots of people don't realize that the Humane Society of Highlands County and the county animal services are right next to each other, but they are not the same thing. They're not the same organization. So if you're looking for your lost pet and you go look at the Humane Society or you call the Humane Society, but you don't go next door to animal services, they're not the same. So you might not find them there. So Sebring Angels does do their best to pull animals that they think are adoptable, or especially a lot of times animals that have that need veterinary care that are for some reason just injured or ill. They will take care of. They're more likely to kind of take on a project like that, get them healthy, and then they could get them adopted because they wouldn't have really much of a chance at the county shelter.
Sure. Do you know what the time is from the time the dog is taken in at the county shelter until it's put down? Do you have any idea what that time is?
It varies. So the county has been undergoing a construction project at the shelter for, I want to say, a little over a year now. Their kennels are only at half capacity. So right now they only have half the amount of space for animals that they used to have. So that is definitely causing more euthanization than we would all hope for. And it used to be a very short amount of time. So it used to be run by the county, but not by the sheriff's office.
Mhm.
And I guess it's been quite a few years now that the sheriff's office has taken over managing the animal services. But back before then, it was 10 days. So they do
Wow.
have a stray hold where they have to, and I think it's 3 days now, maybe. And I don't know all the details for sure. But if your pet is lost and it goes to animal services, they have to hold your animal for however many days it is. I think it's 3 days now,
Mhm.
but it might be as much as 7 to make sure that if you're looking for them, that they are not adopting them out without
Right.
you having a chance to find them. So they do have that period of hold. And then it's basically, depends on how many animals are coming in, how many kennels they have, and the health and temperament of the animals. So
So many
they do their
factors.
best.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What a hard job. I can't imagine having to.
Oh, it's
I
yeah.
don't even like to think about. I don't like to
Yeah,
think about it.
definitely not an easy thing to manage and not an easy job. And they definitely care about animals, and they really do their best to
Mhm.
try to get animals adopted, try to get animals reunited with their families if they're looking for them. So they do good things.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
That means a lot because you know what you're talking about.
This episode of The Havery Show is being brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020.
I want to go back to you guys coming to Highlands County to Sebring. Was that around when you first took over the Blue Lagoon, or were you here before that?
So, well, my husband moved to Sebring in 1998 because of the Blue Lagoon.
Okay.
So he and his business partner, then his late business partner now, found an advertisement for a busy sports bar on Highway 27. And they were both from the Tampa, St. Pete area.
Okay.
And they were managing a restaurant together in Tampa. And they wanted to buy their own restaurant, open their own restaurant, and just saw this advertisement and decided to drive here and look at this busy sports bar. And they ended up buying it.
1998.
That was in 1998. Yes.
That's a long time.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. So so you weren't with Bob at that point?
No.
Okay.
I did move to Sebring, however, in 1998 with my family.
Yeah.
I would have been a little young to meet Bob at that time.
Right.
So I moved here as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
But same year, obviously, we didn't know each other for
Right.
quite a few years.
So when you say your family, I'm assuming you're talking about your brothers and you and
My mom and my
Your mom,
brothers
okay.
and me. Yep.
okay.
We had a big ice storm in 1998 where we used to live in northern New York. And my mom was like, we're not doing this again.
What part of New York?
We are from way, way northern New York, up by the St. Lawrence Seaway.
Okay.
A tiny town called Carthage. That's right up there by the Thousand Island Bridge.
Yes, I've heard incredible things about Thousand Islands.
Yeah, it's
I've heard
so
it's
beautiful.
stunning. I've never been.
Yeah, it's amazing. The winters are very, very harsh, but the summers are amazing. In the fall, there is no better color change for fall.
Really?
I don't think in the whole world. Maybe I'm biased.
Maybe you are.
Yeah.
Is that where the dressing comes from? Thousand Island dressing?
I don't know. Maybe
Hmm.
it would make sense. I
It's
don't
a
know.
mystery.
Yeah.
So you guys moved down. Your family moved down, lock, stock, and barrel because of a freeze in 1998.
Yeah, my mom was like, "We're just done with this. We're not. I don't want to do this anymore."
How on earth is it straight to Sebring, or did you go some other
Yes. So we
places?
moved straight to Sebring because my mom's mom lived here. She had retired here.
Gotcha. So what's the age gap between you and Devin and Patrick?
They are 7 years younger than me.
Okay. You know that both of them are two of my best friends and also two of my arch nemesis. Patrick especially, I think he lives to torment me.
You might.
He's absolutely terrible to me. We try to go out to eat about once a week, me and at least some combination of me and Patrick and Devin, Jordan or Harrison and Rodney. Rodney hasn't come out to lunch with us in years, so he's just given up. Harrison's too busy all the time with taxes and city council stuff. So usually it's either some combination of me, Patrick, Devin, or Jordan. And Patrick is just ruthless to me. As soon as the waitress comes, he starts with the whole, we took Pop out of the house, out of the home today. And we have to make sure he gets something soft, because of his teeth. And I mean, he's just terrible to me.
Oh, he's just kidding.
I know.
He loves
it's
you.
his love language, I
His
guess.
love language, yeah.
And you know what my love language is? To not kill him. So that's my love language. But yeah, I really do love your brothers. They're kind of like sons to me.
Yeah.
I hope they don't hear this, but I think they know that already.
I think they know that.
So how old were you when you guys moved down?
I was 15.
Wow. Okay.
Close to 15.
And your mom, as far as I remember, was a dog. What do you call them?
Yeah, so my mom was a dog groomer.
Groomer.
Yeah,
Thank you. I knew there was
boarding.
word.
Yeah.
Yes. So has she done that all along?
Yeah, most of my life she's been a vet tech and a dog groomer. Yeah.
Would you say that's why you have a love for animals and dogs in particular?
Definitely. Absolutely. I get that from my mom.
Yeah.
My mom we just always had lots of pets and pets that needed homes. And yeah, we've always been kind of like a wayward house for dogs and anything else that comes along.
Yeah. So if I may ask, if I may be so bold, tell me about the romance of a century and how did you and Bob meet and how did that whole thing happen?
Well, I went to the Blue Lagoon on my 21st birthday. I wasn't allowed to go there because I was never old enough to go there. So my 21st birthday, I went there. My boyfriend at the time took me there and I met my best friend, Deborah. Before I met Bob, she was the bartender there and she served me my first legal beer ever on my birthday. She was the first person to check my ID. And so I'm just sitting at the bar and I'm like really, really excited. And Deborah comes over and of course she IDs me because at that time I probably looked like I was 15.
You still look like you're about 18. I'm sorry to say.
I like it. I can't complain. Sometimes I still get ID'd, but I'm happy about it.
Sure.
So, so I would just right away, I was like, oh, Deborah is going to be my best friend. Like, she's my best friend. And my boyfriend was sitting next to me and I was like, who is that? I was like, who's this lady? He's like, oh, that's Deborah. I was like, oh, I really love her. I was like, we're going to be best friends.
Yeah.
And he was like, Deborah is not your best friend. He's like, nobody really likes her that much. And I promise she doesn't like you.
Wow.
Like, he was just like,
holy moly.
Just like, you guys are not going to be best friends. Like, maybe because he didn't think we had anything in common or I don't know. But I don't know. It's 21 years later. I don't know where he is. But Deborah and I are best friends.
Yeah, absolutely. You work together.
Yeah, we've worked together a lot of our most of my adult life.
Yeah.
I've worked with Deborah in some capacity. We're business partners in 2 businesses now. And yeah.
Yeah. So does she recall that night as well as you do?
Yeah, she remembers.
Does she, is there anything on her part that says, I'm going to be BFF with Tiff?
I don't think so. She just said that she was taken back by my voice and that she thought it was annoying.
Oh, wow.
I was like, who is this girl and why does she talk like that?
Wow.
But we became besties real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a great voice, by the way. It is so distinguished and distinguishable and can pick you out of a room. No problem at all. I think it's cool.
It is. It's not like everyone's.
No, it's not, especially when you get wound up.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I get mad, it gets really, really high. When I yell, it gets really high.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're passionate about something, boy, you can hear it in your voice.
I think everybody would agree with that. Yeah.
I like it. So you met Deborah before you met Bob.
Yeah. So obviously Bob owned the Blue Lagoon and that's how I met him. And I ended up working at the Blue Lagoon shortly after that. I was just kind of hanging out and had a job that I wasn't making that much money and I was just watching what was going on there. And I was like, I got to get a job here because they're making money and I need to make that money.
Yes.
I had come home from college and I had student loans and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And I just was like, I got to make some money. I got to pay these bills. So I just started working there. And Bob found himself single after his first marriage. And I guess we kind of hit it off.
I suppose you did.
Yeah.
Some would say.
Yeah. So we kind of started seeing each other and kept it quiet for quite a long time for lots of reasons. It was we worked together and just decided we just wanted to make sure that we knew what we were doing before we put it out there.
That is really wise.
Yeah. Oh, I needed that job. I told him that. I said, I'm like, this is probably not a good idea. I'm like, this is a really bad idea for me. I need this job. Like, I cannot mess up this job.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was an interesting situation.
I guess
a very tread lightly situation.
So how long have you two been together now?
We will be married for 17 years next month.
Wow.
And so we've been together about 20 years, I guess.
Fantastic.
21 years.
Yeah. You're definitely Sebring's like power couple, the cool couple, the cool kids.
I don't know about that.
I do. Yeah, you guys are so well known and well loved. Yeah, I just think it's fantastic. You mentioned student loans. Did you go to college somewhere?
I did. So I went to a design college in Tampa. So I went to the International Academy of Design. I went to fashion school there.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about fashion school.
Fashion school was awesome. It was so much fun. I learned some pretty good skills that are fun skills to have, but not necessarily great for the world, great for paying your bills, great for a career in that industry typically is bottom barrel, like assistant type. You know, you're going to be getting somebody's coffee for back then probably $8 an hour. And you kind of had to live in a big city and, you know, you just got to start working your way up. And I'm just not a big city girl. Like any of these job offers that were coming my way were what I thought were really not great jobs. They weren't great jobs. Everybody was like kind of like an intern kind of thing, you know, and I just couldn't talk myself into moving to a city where I couldn't have 5 dogs if I wanted to, you know.
Sure. So design, is it clothing?
Yes. So that's
fashion design.
Yeah, that's what I went to school for. But a lot of those skills are kind of interchangeable. I had a pretty good knowledge of sewing before I got there, but yeah, lots of sewing skills acquired and pattern making and even down to like advertising and putting on events, fashion shows, that kind of thing. So,
well, you've taken those skills and brought them here for sure. And I'm sure that you had a huge hand in decorating your different establishments and venues that you've had.
Yeah, I would say that's where I've used most of those skills, honestly.
Yeah.
In decorating.
This episode of The Havery Show is being brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020.
Wow, what great spaces you've created. You know, I'm going to start with Monsurk. Was that your first or was Faded?
Faded was open first.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay, and that used to be the Garden Restaurant?
It was the Garden Cafe.
Garden Cafe.
McLean's Garden Cafe.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That was a cool place then, but now
it's a great place.
It really was. It had a nice vibe. It had a nice atmosphere to it. But what you have done to it is just remarkable. I have 2 cousins. Both of them are from New York. One lives in St. Pete now, and one lives in Pennsylvania. And that's all they talk about. Is Faded still there? Is Faded still there? And when they come, they don't want to eat anywhere else. You know, they want to eat at Faded. And it's been a couple of years since they've been here, but they still talk about it and the impression it made. And these guys are like, they can eat anywhere they want, anytime they want. They loved your place.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you had Faded first.
Yeah. So Faded was open for about a year. And I just kind of started getting kind of bored. And I wanted to open the wine bar. So Deborah and I always wanted to open a wine bar. We were talking about it forever. We were talking about it before Faded, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then just Scott and Lolly were ready to retire. And it was just such a great opportunity that, you know, they offered us to have Faded that we're like, we need to do this. Yeah. So kind of put the little wine bar project on the back burner. And, but yeah, so Faded was open for about a year. And, I was getting ready to go to Paris to see my other best friend, April Fields, who I think has been on the podcast before. Yeah.
Yes.
So she and I were meeting up in Paris for a week over the summer after the first year that we had been open, it faded. And so I was just like, before I left, I was like, I really still want to do this wine bar thing. Like, everything was kind of going, it faded, and there were systems in place. And I'm like, I just want to do it. So I talked to Bob about it. And then like the day before I left, I talked to Deborah. I was like, you know how we always said we wanted to open our wine bar? I know we've spent a lot of money at Faded, and maybe it's not a great time for you if you don't want to do it now, but I really still want to do it. Like, so I'm like, and I think I want to start looking for a place when I get back from Paris in a week. I was like, do you still want to do it? And she's like, well, how much money do you think we need? And so I told her how much money I thought we each needed. And she's like, you think you can do it with that much money? I was like, I know I can. I promise I can, you know. She's like, well, yeah, I want to do it. So that's kind of where the inspiration for Monserc came from. I was in Paris with April, and Bob did not go to Paris. He had no desire to go to Paris. So that was probably why it was the best opportunity for me to go, because April was there. And he had made this list of different like names for the wine bar, like, and they were all kind of French themed. Yeah. And Monserc happened to be on the list. And I was like, oh, that's it. Like, that's what we're doing. But we have to build a circus. Like, absolutely, we can't call it Monserc and just put a clown on the wall. Like, it has to be real.
Yes.
So it was so much fun to do that. That was the most fun I think I've ever had, was building that place.
Yeah. Yeah. That used to be a business office, I think.
Yeah. It was a t-shirt distribution office for the Fells brothers when they started their, what is it, Florida Heritage t-shirts and hats. Yes. Yeah, they were using it, and then they didn't need it anymore, so space became available.
So how long have you had Monserc now then?
We celebrated our 7-year anniversary in January.
7 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, 7 years.
What a fun place. And the atmosphere, I keep saying vibe, but it's a real thing. People are so friendly there.
They are.
And they're so kind. Mm-hmm. And they're so loving and caring and accepting. It's really special.
It is. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was going to happen at all. Yeah. I just wanted to open a wine bar. And then it just took on its own entity. It's like, yeah, it's so hard to describe. It's
a wonderful place. Every time I have family or, people come to town, I always like to bring them there and kind of show it off. We did, Katie and Joe, my daughter, Katie and Joe, and Harrison and Dawn. This was years ago, but when they had the scooters.
Oh yeah.
And we went on a scooter rampage to, the scooter crawl. Yeah, we were there. They loved it. My nephew Bug, I don't know if you wouldn't know Bug, Vincent Asciutto.
We went to school together.
You went to school with Bug?
I think we graduated in the same class.
No kidding.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'll be darned. Yeah, so he loves it there. And his wife Kim. Yeah, it's a great place. So congratulations on Monserc.
Thank you.
All the stuff. You've done a great job with it.
Thanks.
Tell me a little bit about the Roanoke and how did you and Bob and Mark and Brandy figure this whole thing out? And is it pretty much the four of you? Is that the core, or are there silent partners maybe?
So it's the four of us kind of like closer managing the businesses. And then Bob's brother, Bill, and his wife, Jackie, are actually investors too.
Gotcha.
So the 6 of us invested in the building, in the property.
What a remarkable turnaround. Now, I don't know. You don't remember the cat house. The cat house is before your time, I think.
Closed before.
It might have been Sandy's.
Moved here.
Was it Sandy's?
I remember it being Sandy's for a long time. Yeah.
So the cat house started off in the Nansesewee.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was the original cat house on the bottom floor. That was the original cat house.
Okay.
Cat house moved over to where your place is now. And the cat house at the Nansesewee eventually turned into a bar called the Rendezvous. And it was
rough.
It was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. Yeah, so your
I do
place.
remember that being open, but I never went there. That
You
was
would have
not
been
a
pretty
place
young.
that I would have
Yeah,
gone. Yeah.
Yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the cat house then it was wildly successful for so many years, and then it closed. Sandy's took it over, and then I think there was a barbecue place there at one point.
There was a barbecue place there for a very short amount of
Yeah.
time. Yes.
Yeah, and then I believe it just kind of sat for a while until you guys got it.
Yeah, I don't think anything opened after the barbecue place.
Well, it is transformed. Holy moly!
That was another really fun project.
I can't imagine. I love creating. I love creating anything. I like creating music. I like creating
Yeah.
art. But to be able to have basically what amounts to a shell of a building and to be able to just do whatever you want, that had to be an unbelievably cool experience.
Oh, it was a very fun experience for me. I had been looking at that building. Actually, Montserrat was originally supposed to be in that building.
Really?
So Montserrat was going to be in the room where the Circle View is now, where the Circle Salon used to be.
Yes.
So I was talking to the landlord and turned on the electricity up there because the electricity hadn't been on in forever, and seeing what worked, what didn't work, and bought all the furniture. Like, everything was ready for us to go into that room and make that Montserrat. And on the day I went to sign the lease, I just couldn't sign it. It wasn't a good lease. It wasn't a commercial lease. It didn't have important items in there to make sure that the business that I was building in that space was going to be viable.
Mm-hmm.
So there were just criteria that I needed to be there, and we could not make an agreement. So I just turned off the electricity and walked away and called Deborah and told her that we don't have a room, but we still have a giant garage, or her garage was packed full of all of our stuff.
Oh, wow. So you already had some inventory and
Yeah, we had all of our furniture. Yeah, we hadn't purchased wine or beer or anything like that yet because we didn't have a license yet. But yeah, and I was like, we don't have a space.
This episode of The Havery Show is being brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020.
How long did it take from that falling through basically to
the same day?
Oh, come on.
I looked at Montserrat.
You got to be kidding.
It is now. Yeah. So I called my mom because I was obviously really bummed and upset. I was so excited about that room. I could already see it.
Yeah.
The room with the stripes on the wall. It was already there, and it was just so in my head. And then once I have that going on, I just can't focus on anything else. Like, I want what I want, and I'm going to do it, and it has to be this way. And so I was just really distraught about it. And my mom was working for a little office that's on the back corner of that building.
Okay.
There's actually kind of 3 spaces there.
Yes.
There's a little tiny corner office.
Yep.
And she was working out of that office, and she's like, a space just came open in our building. You should look at it. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to lose anything looking at it, but I wasn't excited. I knew it was like an office building, and I'm like, it's not going to be what I want, but who am I to say? I can't be whining to my mom if I won't take some advice if she gives me an option,
Sure.
So, Charlie, who was the owner then, Charlie Cullens, the late Charlie Cullens,
the late
and great, wonderful Charlie Cullens, met me there to show me the space, and we walked in the front door where the offices were, and I was just like, oh, I just hated it so much. The drop ceiling and the walls were gray, and the carpet was gray with white trim, like an office would be, like a nice office.
Sure.
It was a nice office, but I hated it. I hated everything. And I'm walking down the hallway, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with these little rooms. Like, this is just not, I couldn't see my circus tent with my stripes on the wall. And so I walked to the end of the hallway, and there was a door there, and I opened the door, and it was just this open warehouse space with a high ceiling and concrete block on 2 walls. And I was like, this is it. This is the room. Yeah. This is the one. Like, I want it. So I called Deborah, and I was like, I found it. It's here. I was like, you got to come look at it. So she comes over, and Deborah is my best friend, but she's not the creative visionary. She's our numbers girl. Like she tells me if I can do what I want, you know. And so she comes over and she looks at it and she looks at me. She goes, "I don't see it,
Wow.
but I trust you, so let's do it." So
Just like that.
just like that. So
from the time you met with Charlie and you saw it the first time until it opened, how long did you have to transform it?
It took about 6 weeks.
6 weeks to do that.
Probably 7 weeks. Charlie gave me the keys a little bit earlier than our lease started because he knew we had work to do. And he's like, just take the keys and get doing your thing, kid. So I think it was about probably 7 weeks because we signed our lease for December 1st and we opened mid-January.
How about that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
It was not a long time went by. We were ready. We were ready to do it.
I guess so.
Yeah.
We have a mutual friend, Greg Griffin.
Yes.
He's very proud of saying that he helped with that. So
He did.
So what did he actually do?
Well, he was actually the contractor.
Okay.
The things that we needed a contractor for to be licensed and insured, he did that for us. So
he's very proud of that, by the way.
Well, he should be.
Yeah. It turned out fantastic.
Yeah, he actually did quite a bit. So there was we had to make the bathroom ADA compliant. So a wall had to come out and then a wall had to be taken out and then a door had to be put onto the bathroom, and the bathroom did have to have a bit of a remodel that way. Also he and Bob actually did our epoxy floor on Christmas Eve at like midnight. They poured the floor.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah. They installed the bar, the bar that we put in. They had to do quite a bit behind the bar. We had to put the triple sink in and we had to have some drains rearranged. So of course he was overseeing that with the plumber because he's the guy with license and insurance that can, get us checked out by the county building official, which he is now. So
there it is.
That was kind of right before he was becoming.
That's right.
Right before he was taking that job.
Do you guys don't own the building? Are you still renting it?
We're still renting it.
Okay. Do you think you would ever find a place that could be your own building that you would you consider moving, or is that just home now?
I wouldn't want to move. I know I could move. I mean, the 4 walls don't necessarily make the place.
Right.
I've had that talk with myself a few times. At one point, I was talking to Charlie before he passed about buying the building, and that was before COVID. And then COVID hit, and of course, I wasn't considering buying a building then because I had no livelihood. I didn't know if I was ever going to have any money again. We didn't know if our restaurants were going to open. The bar was shut down for 8 months. 8 months, we made 0 money. There was no help for our type of business at that time. So obviously those negotiations ceased to happen.
For sure.
And then we did talk about it again after we got reopened, and but it just didn't work out. It needs to be, so they're actually 2 separate buildings that touch each other, but they can't be separated. So what Deborah and I wanted to buy our building where our space is and not necessarily be landlords to the other space.
For sure.
But it turns out that that's not really possible. So if we did want to buy the building, we have to buy the whole thing.
Got it.
And we just haven't been that financially secure to do that, especially with starting the Roanoke project. So.
Are those 2, but can you get from one building to the other inside, or is it just a facade?
No.
It's just a facade that joins them together, kind of?
They each have their own separate wall, but they touch each other.
Okay, yes.
But some other things are connected.
So there was Dr. Lynch, Delton Lynch. He had his dental practice.
Yeah, I heard that.
The front part of the building, and then yours is the middle. Is that right? Or is it the same building?
I think the dental practice is where the hair salon is now.
Okay.
I think.
There you go. The one right adjacent to the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
And then the part where I am was built later in the 80s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Ghost actually bought that.
That
or
sounds right.
Built that
That sounds
part
right.
of it. And I guess it was like a medical supply
Okay. Yes, that sounds right.
or something.
I think it was also a mortgage office at one
Okay.
point. Yeah, I think there was a set of offices where there was financial things and mortgages and stuff like that at one point.
Yeah. And I know Mr. Jackson had his legal office there where the hair salon is.
Yes, that's right.
Maybe after the dentist? I don't know.
I think so. Not 100% sure. They're putting in bathrooms in your parking lot.
Like public bathrooms?
Yeah, the Rotary is they've got the land, well, they've got the foundations all set and stuff. Did you lose many spaces? I mean, there's a lot of parking. It's not going to hurt you, I guess, but
No.
yeah.
Yeah, you mean like out, like between where we are and the pool hall?
Yeah, and the Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a good thing for downtown to have those extra bathrooms, I think.
I think it's necessary.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
Especially when there's events and things. And yeah.
So this is can be touchy depending on who you talk to, but overall, are you satisfied with what HGTV did? Are you neutral or are you dissatisfied overall?
Overall, I don't think there's any reason not to be satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the improvements are great, needed.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree. And maybe it's not a color that you like or
Right.
something you would have chosen, but I think we can all agree that the buildings look better.
I think so too.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
they look better. They look better taken care of.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's kind of pushing people in that direction.
I think
to
it
take
did.
More pride
I
and
really
to
do.
Take better care of our land in general, better care of our community. So I'm happy. I mean, I'm happy about it. I think it's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well said.
This episode of The Havery Show is being brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020.
Yeah.
You have any political aspirations?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
Just curious.
I don't live in the city.
Okay.
So I can't run for city council. Yeah, no, I don't really think I have much time for that.
Yep. Fair enough. The only reason I even ask is because, you are well respected and well known in the community. So I just,
Well, I think that also depends on who you talk to.
I mean, sure. It's like that for anybody.
Yeah.
Certainly even Harrison, who's one of the most likable people that you'll ever meet, has people that, that don't care for him because of his, stances on some things. So that's the nature of politics, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, and you can't be afraid of that either.
No, you cannot.
If people elect you to represent them and they're electing you because you are you and because of the things that you stand for, then you have to uphold that. And
that's right.
We see that in our politics all the time. We think we've elected somebody who's going to be great for us, and then a year later, they turn out to be just going with the program.
Yeah.
I think it's I think politics is probably very hard not to just get wrapped up in lobbying and people throwing money at you for different things. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think that would be for me.
Yeah.
But maybe.
Well, you know what? I can say this. We need more people and fewer politicians.
Yes. And I think a lot of times when we elect people, it doesn't take long before they become politicians.
That's right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll just leave that at that. So tell me 5 favorite things to eat. What are your 5, or maybe 3, your top 3? You can have anything you want. What are your top 3 indulgences for food?
Pizza is my favorite food. I think it's the perfect food.
I do too. Yeah, I happen to agree with that 100%. I'm a pizza snob.
Yeah. I mean, some pizza is better than no pizza most of the time.
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah.
That's from The Office. Would you rather have a little bit of really good pizza, or would you rather have a lot of okay pizza?
Really good pizza.
Yeah.
For sure.
It depends on the day.
Yeah.
Depends on the day and hour, really.
I guess
I'm not going to ask for a name, but do you have a favorite Highlands County pizza place. You don't have to throw anybody under the bus, or I don't want to stir anything up. But do you have one?
Yeah, I like New York style pizza.
Me too.
So
Yeah. What's the best you've ever had? Do you know?
well, the best I've ever had is at my hometown in New York.
Really?
And it's a little place called Stefano's.
Stefano's.
Yeah.
Is it a Brooklyn style? Like the big pizza with the foldable slices?
It's a pure foldability
That's huge.
that matters.
You ever watch Dave Portnoy with his pizza reviews from Barstool Sports?
No.
Oh, he goes all around the country reviewing pizza.
Oh,
It's amazing. He's got to have hundreds of
we should get
reviews.
that job.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we need to be aspiring to.
I did that in 2018 and 2018 was when I really did it. When I went to New York for that whole summer,
Uh-huh.
I was every time I went out of into a different town to do a show, I would always find at least one or two pizza places to do a review on. But Dave Portnoy is remarkable with his pizza reviews. It's very fun to watch.
Oh, I've never even heard of him. I'm gonna have
Very
to
fun.
look that up.
Very, very fun. Yeah, so it's gotta be foldable. So the slice has to be thick enough that you can actually get a good fold.
Yes,
And
that matters.
For me, now everybody's different, but for me, I want it to be firm until the end, and then I want just a little bit of a droop. I don't want it to just collapse, and I don't want it to be straight like cardboard. It has to have a little droop, and if you hold it for just a second or two, you'll have a couple drops of nice orange grease.
Yes.
And then you take the drops and you put them around the edge of the pizza so that the crust can soak that in.
Oh,
That's what I do.
that's a trick.
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna take that trick.
So I'm a purist. I like a cheese pizza more than anything. But what do you like? What are your toppings of choice?
I'm pretty simple that way. I do if it's that New York style pizza, just cheese.
Yeah.
I don't eat pork, so pepperoni and sausage is not my thing.
Yep.
I like artisanal pizzas too, though. I like a nice wood fired pizza with some fun things going on.
That's almost a different category, like you said.
It is. It's yeah.
Artisanal or a gourmet, or it's its own category. Like Domino's is not really pizza; it's a pizza-like food, and it's similar to pizza, but it's its own category.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not really signing up for that. I'm not
Yeah.
seeking that one out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in a pinch, any pizza will do in a pinch.
That's true.
That's
Some pizza is probably better than no pizza.
I used to like the Totinos, the frozen ones.
Those
Remember
are
those?
great.
Those
Yeah.
were they were $1.
They would get crispy. Yeah.
Yes,
those
they
are
were
great.
$1. You throw it directly on the oven, and you use the box as your plate. And
Yeah.
you're good to go.
I'm pretty sure we lived on those, and
Again, pizza-like food, not really pizza, but pizza-like. So you just had a great pizza. You've washed it down with
red wine.
red wine pizza. Okay, I gotta have a Coke. I gotta have that carbonation.
I don't know.
But I respect your decision to have red wine. Well, so
Red
what?
wine and pizza is the best combo ever.
We'll agree to disagree. So what are we having for dessert? You're gonna have what after your slices and your red wine?
I love dessert.
Me too.
So that's a tough one. But if we're going to stay in the department of pizza along those lines, I would say New York style cheesecake.
Okay. All right. You'll take the cheesecake and I'll take the cannoli.
Fair.
If we're gonna stay in that, but otherwise, yeah, I don't know. It might be something else. Speaking of desserts, holy moly. Me and Dawn went with some friends to, is it Dara or Dara?
So both pronunciations are correct.
Okay.
Our niece's name is Dara, and gets its namesake that way, but most people would say Dara, and I find myself saying Dara a lot of the time. So
It means oak?
it means oak, yeah.
Okay. Well, we went, I don't know, a week ago Friday, whatever it was. I've been through it a couple times because, again, whenever I have somebody come to town, I always, and I'm probably breaking all the rules, but I bring them into Gavigan's. I bring them into the pitch. What do you?
Yeah,
the pitch.
Yeah, the little sports.
And then I always sneak them in the back. I always sneak them and show them Dara as well. So I've seen it and even I think it was like the day before the day before you opened, me and Dawn were out walking and you let us take a
Yeah.
sneak peek.
Yeah.
But we actually went in and had the experience.
Well, good.
I didn't think that you could just go to it's a legitimate, true restaurant, but it only serves dessert and drinks.
Correct.
I didn't think you could kill 2 hours eating dessert, but we did. And I'm not a big drinker, but I had a chocolate cherry martini.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good choice.
Holy moly. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
And then I had, is it a triple chocolate brownie, something that is like a cheesecake maybe with brownie?
The triple chocolate mousse.
It wasn't that. One of our friends had that and that was incredible because we all shared.
That's one of my favorites.
It looks like chocolate and it was piped around the edges. It was gorgeous. It was just beautiful, but it was delicious. And Dawn had a mudslide and something else. And our friends, so we all kind of tried each other's stuff, but mine was the best. My stuff was the best. If I went in there 20 more times, I'll have that every single time. It was so good.
Good.
Atmosphere. Wow. It all makes sense knowing that you went to design college.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a Celtic fairy forest.
Nailed it.
It's kind of what I wanted it to be like.
You hit it right on the head. It's perfect.
It kind of fits with the Irish pub and the pitch, and then
yeah, it's beautiful, really beautiful. And you've got great help in there. The service is always friendly and kind. I love playing in Gavigan's on Wednesdays. I'm really enjoying that.
Loves it.
That is so fun.
People tell me they have so much fun.
Well, that makes me happy, but it's the pleasure's all mine on that one. And I love working with your staff. Your staff is so good. It's cool. It's cool seeing Mark and Brandy in there doing their thing.
I know. It's really fun.
It's you never know it's going to be Mark and Brandy night or is it going to be Bob night? You never know. And then you'll come running in and running out again. And it's fun.
I pretty much run in and run out.
Yeah, it's great.
A lot of time to hang. Although I did tell the potato here I might take her for some snacks after I get my work done.
Tell me about the upstairs place. What's it called?
The Circle View?
Circle View. Yeah, that's members only, isn't it?
So it is a membership club. So it has a yearly fee. I believe that fee is $200.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the code and you belong to the club, then you can go hang out up there, basically. And it also gives you access to the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we made it a membership club just because it is a hotel and we don't want the door to the hotel to be able to be open to everybody all the time.
Yes, for sure. No, you couldn't have that. It would be bedlam.
Yeah,
it would. You can't have people just coming and going up there. No way.
Yeah, so that's kind of the reason. And I know some people don't understand the reasoning or, don't think it's a good idea, but that's basically why we chose to do it that way.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I mean, it's your place. You can do whatever you want to with it.
And just even for security reasons, with people sleeping there, who's there.
Yes, that's right.
You know who these people are.
That's right.
And,
I know your guests have got to appreciate that too. The ones that are staying with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. That's just a nice sense of security. This pub is making me crazy.
Oh, she's got some gas right now. She's stinky.
She's done so well just sitting there and being petted.
This is all she wants to do. Like we could do this. We could do this forever. And this is probably what I would do if I didn't have to do life things. I would probably just hold this little dog and we would just hang out forever.
Well, you know what? You got to do that for the last hour. So I think I've given you an opportunity to legitimately just sit and pet your pup.
It's been great.
I really appreciate you coming. There's Tiff. There's so much that I really want to talk about on this podcast. And maybe sometime down the road, it will start to get a little less fluffy and a little more real. But we have some stories we could tell, and there's some interesting things that I think that the public would be interested in hearing about just different events, different people, different oppositions to events and things like that.
Yeah.
That I think need to be talked about. Tiff, I love you. I thank you so much for being here today. And you're a real joy, and you're just a kind, sweet, caring, loving, gentle person. And I think you're great.
Thank you. Love you too.
Thanks. All right. We're out.
The Havery Show has been brought to you by Heartland Tax and Accounting, 863-385-5020.
Glory to the name